Hi fellas. Thanks for your support. Welcome to Movie Narrator channel. Today we are going to look at classic cult vampire movie. From Dusk Till Dawn. Be ready to get thrilled. The vicious story starts at a gas station where Ranger notes to the clerk that two dangerous robbers has robbed a bank and they headed towards the Mexican border. Along the way, the brotherly outlaws have already killed multiple Rangers, cops and civilians. After, the Ranger goes to the restroom and suddenly the hiding criminals appears with two hostages. And Richie Gecko, the crazy one, accused the clerk has been trying to expose their hideout, and the shop clerk claimed that he is trying his best to act natural under the circumstances. Seth Gecko composes everyone to continue what they have been doing and warns the shopkeeper that this is last chance. Now the Ranger returns. They were having yet another conversation. When Ranger was supposed to leave, Richie shoots him from behind. His brother shouts why he shoots the Ranger. And Richie insists that the clerk was asking help from the Ranger, but the shopkeeper argues that he didn't do anything. But quickly things got escalated, as the shopkeeper claiming that he was following their instructions and still got shot by Richie. Seth asks him to stop and to be calm. Meanwhile, the wounded shopkeeper fires at them and manages to put a clean hole right through Richie's hand. During the commotion, the hostages run free. Now the brothers take cover and Seth instructs Richie to shoot out the beer bottles behind the counter. Then Seth throws a burning issue roll over it. The shopkeeper is engulfed in flames. As he burns down, Richie watch overs it sadistically. They leaves the shop as the shop exploded. Seth urges Richie to follow his rules and keep low profile. Seth also inquired about Richie's hand wound. Later the brothers booked a room at a motel along the highway. Then Seth took their hostage from the car trunk. After entering their room, Seth gives the hostage set of rules to follow. That if she talks or create any noise, she will be replied with his revolver. She nodded at whatever he said. Then Seth went out to get some food. Shortly after, Richie invites her to the bedroom to watch TV with him. Meanwhile, we meet the Fuller family at a diner. Jacob, the father and a pastor who is experiencing a crisis of faith, his son Scott and daughter Kate are on a vacation in their RV. They were traveling to El Paso. They were having conversation. The father says he wants to sleep in a real bed, so they're going to stop at a motel. And we came to know that the father quitted his job recently after his wife died. Then we see a news broadcast detailing the exploits of the bandit Gecko brothers. A news lady enthusiastically lists off their kill count, and the police expect their capture within 48 hours. Now we move out to motel. Seth arrives back to the motel with food in hand. Seth greets his brother, then offers him a burger. But he found out the hostage was raped and murdered. While he asks his brother what's wrong with him, Richie insists it was her fault as she becomes completely different person. Seth rebukes his brother, explaining that this isn't how we do things. But his brotherly love overcomes him, and he assures him that once they're in Mexico they can be happy and can be comfortable. Now the Fuller family arrives at the same hotel and they almost run over Seth, who leaves them with a mysterious glance. After the family settles in, Richie pays them a visit, and then things get serious when Seth attacks Jacobs and he explains their predicament, that they need their RV to cross border. Seth and Jacob make an uneasy truce. If the Geckos can make it past the border, Jacob and his family will come out of the ordeal unharmed. Meanwhile, Richie can barely keep his eyes off her. Jacob pleaded to spare his children from being held hostage. Unfortunately, Seth wants them all and he's rather persuasive. Everybody gets aboard the RV. Seth came to know about Jacob by asking him personal questions. In the back, Richie sits with the kids and tries to flirt with Kate, and Jacob warns Seth that if Richie touches her he'll kill him. Seth replies if Jacob screws things up, then he will kill his entire family. And as they approach Border Patrol, Seth, Richie and Kate hide in the bathroom, while Scott moves to the front seat alongside his dad. There they have a tight checkup. At the same time, Richie's mind goes crazy for a while, but Seth keeps it in check. After hearing a sound, the officer was suspicious about them and Jacob explains that his daughter is in the bathroom. But officer enters the RV. Meanwhile, Seth knocks out crazy brother. Upon inspecting the bathroom, the officer finds Kate and the officer departs. And after crossing the border, Seth was jumping with joy and acknowledges Jacob for doing a good job of holding their nerves. Seth gives Jacob the directions to a bar called Titty Twister. Seth wakes up Richie and tells him that they are now in Mexico. And he tells him that they need to wait for their contact. So later the contact can bring them to Ellery where they can be safe. They arrive at the mentioned bar, where we see bikers and truck drivers seen drinking and dancing at the entrance. And also we see a signboard with text "Nude Girls Dancing." Before getting down from the RV, Seth explains what needs to be followed. The watchman stops them from entering, saying that it is a private bar. Seth punches him for the entry ticket. Then Richie punts him repeatedly. Upon entering, Seth appreciates the bar for its blood-pumping sights. The bartender refused for pouring a shot for Seth. He says that the bar is only for bikers and truckers. A man grabs Seth from behind and they were about to fight each other. But Jacob steps in and tells everyone to calm down, and explains that his RV is technically a truck. Also, he shows his trucker's license. After ordering items, they finds an empty table. Then they started to drinking. But Jacob refused to drink. But after Seth insists him, Jacob joins them. Meanwhile, we get to see some biker and trucker. On cue, the main event is about to begin. The bartender announces the entrance of the most sinister woman to walk the earth, and she is Santanico Pandemonium. She came by dancing with Python crawling around her. She performs a dazzling performance. Everyone stunned by her act. Meanwhile, the watchman gathers some bar guys and arrives there. As Seth and Richie were arming them up, things quickly got spiced when Richie was about to take his revolver. The bartender stabs him in the wounded hand. Seth shoots a guy, whereas Richie grabs the knife and stabs multiple times on the bartender chest. Then they barrages on watchman. Meanwhile, Jacob notices the blood on the knife appears greenish color. Then Santanico becomes intrigued by Richie's bloody hand. Santanico transformed to a vampiric creature. On a blind sight, Santanico attacks Richie, and before Seth can reload, Richie's got bitten on the neck. Seth fires, but it's already too late. Richie quickly bleeds out and dies on Seth's lap. During this, we get to see that the bartender, watchman and other foes rise from the dead as vampires. And they started attacking everybody. We see the bartender went to attack a French bearded guy. We can call him as Frenchie. Frenchie defends him with a self-made gun. One of the dancers barricades the door, saying that it's a dinner time, and transform into her monster form. Now all the bar dancers and singers have transformed as vampiric creatures. And they started feeding other humans, spilling blood all over. The scene depicts as we are seeing hell. Watchman vampire charges at Kate, but she counterattacks by shoving her cross chain into its mouth. As an aftermath, vampire melts down and oozes liquids all over Kate. Then we see a mustache guy manhandles the vampires with ease. And we also see Frenchie kills as much as he can. When the bartender charges to attack him, Frenchie killed him using a whip. Santa Nico challenges Seth, then attacks him. After stepping on him, she then gives a monologue that she will make Seth her slave. Within this, Seth reloads his gun and shoots at the chandelier above her. The chandelier falls over Santa Nico, injuring her fatally. Then a holy fire melts her down. Her comrade seeks to avenge her. He was charging at Seth and Jacob, but the mustache guy challenges him instead. The mustache guy rips his heart and Frenchie kills him by piercing the heart with a pencil. Before they relaxes, 4 vamps emerge to face against them. Everybody squares up and goes to battle, which ended briefly as the 4 heroes stood tall. As the bodies burn away, they turn their eyes on the music band, but the band blow themselves up. Seth walks over to Richie's body and tells him that he loves him. But he got surprised as Richie responds to it and transforms to a vampire. When Frenchie tried to attack Richie, but was halted by Seth. After Seth realized that his brother has become a monster, Seth stabs him while other holding onto him. Seth begun to drink as he carries the burden of ramming a wooden stake on his own brother's chest. But Jacob insists him to stay sober as they are in a crisis. Suddenly they hear flapping sounds around the bar. Seth confirms that they're bats. And everyone started barricading the main door with the furnitures. We see Kate draws back in fear. Then a transformed legs mutilated vampire crawls over her. Frenchie saves her and forces a wooden stake to vampire chest. Soon another transformed vampire stood up and attacks them. Mustache guy burns it. Then everyone realizes that the victims will be transformed into vampires. So to be sure, they all start drive wooden stake the dead bodies. Frenchie got bitten by a vampire, but no one notices it. So Frenchie hides the bite mark from others. After finishing their task, everyone shares their opinion on what just happened. And Seth explains that they have encountered vampires. And now everyone started to tell their ideas of killing a vampire. Seth tells that even a tap water can become a holy water when pastor puts spells on it. But he teases Jacob that he is useless pastor since he doesn't have faith in God. Mustache guy shares his war story with everyone. But we see Frenchie isolated himself and he started hearing voices in his head. And he is transforming gradually. As Mustache guy finishes his story, Frenchie bites him from behind. Then Frenchie rampages through everyone. Also he bites Jacob. No one was able to stop him as Frenchie throws Jacob over bar shelves. Mustache guy grabs Frenchie and throws him outside through the window. As the windows break, the bats gets inside the bar. And we found that Mustache guy already transformed into a vampire. Seth Kate Scott runs and secure themselves in a storage room. Mustache guy directs the bats to chase them. Kate suggests that they need to go back for her dad. But Seth rejects her, saying that he would be dead. But now outside we see Jacob, who's hiding under the bar table. compose himself. Then he grabs a bat and a shotgun and forms it as a cross. After he slowly moved towards storage room and knocks on the door. They let him in. Jacob gives option to them that they can go gun blazing now or wait for Jacob maybe survive, or wait until Jacob turning into a vampire and fight him. They choose the first option. Then they search through the storage room for weapons. They find random stuffs. Each equipped themselves with a weapon. As they went outside to the bar, they see the army of vampires, minions. Now everyone started attacking the minions. Kate shoots with arrows whereas Scott attacks them with holy watered balloons and using holy water gun. Seth impales the minions by his motor-induced wooden stake. Jacob shoots the minions by shotgun. Frenchie interrupts Jacob, but Seth beheads him by his own whip. We then see the remaining body transforms into a giant rodent-like creature. As the creature begun to attack Seth, Kate helps him by killing the creature by arrows. Then Mustache Guy appears there. Jacob shoves the shotgun through his gut and started shooting the minions and reloads the shotgun using Mustache Guy. Eventually Mustache Guy melts down. As the time goes, Jacob becomes a vampire and bites his son Scott. Scott kills him, but minions started munching him. Scott shouted out to his sister to shoot him. Kate, after hesitating, first shoots the holy water balloons, which then exploded. Seth and Kate continues fighting minions, but they ran out stamina as well as ammunition. And as they were surrounded by vampiric minions, sun rises and its rays started to pass through the holes and broken window. They noticed the sunlight harms the minions, so they started shooting through the walls, creating more holes. Meanwhile, Seth hears his friend's voice from outside the bar. Seth asks his friend to break the door. His friend fires at the door, letting the sun ray entering the bar. Disco ball reflects the sunlight all over the bar, killing all the minions eventually. Seth, out of anger, punches his friend for choosing this bar as a meeting spot. Seth then explains the carnage that previously happened to his friend. Later they both came into agreement. Seth left the place after he handed over some cash to Kate. As Kate goes to her RV, the camera got zoomed out as we see the bar is just an entrance for an old Mayan temple, indicating there are more darker evil buried beneath them than they experienced. Fellas, hope you enjoyed this movie. If you like this video, please like and share to your friends. Also subscribe to Movie Narrator channel for more movies.